Social proof. People are more likely to trust a product or service if they see others using and enjoying it. And this is so true, right? Every ad, every website, there's either reviews, there's people talking about it, social influencers, there's people reviewing it.
I love that because even though we all know it, and a lot of people who are listening to this are business leaders, marketers, maybe salespeople, we're like, oh yeah, like as if that's going to work on me, but it works. It still works. I love that.
Welcome to the Inbound Buzz podcast, episode 141. My name is Tony and I'm joined by Moby Sadiq. How you going, mate?
Good, Tony. Good to be here, man.
So we have an announcement?
Yeah, we got a big announcement. We are announcing the launch of the They Ask You Answer conference in APAC. We're going to fly down the Marcus Sheridan, author of, honestly, in my mind, I've said this sounds biased now, but well before the Impact acquired us, the best marketing book on earth. So this book has been featured in Forbes, Mashable. Constant listeners of the show will know Marcus. But anyway, he's flying down. We're bringing him down and we're running a conference on the 31st of October. All-day event, and I'll be speaking there as well, and it's going to be epic.
Yeah, and we will have a few other speakers as well that's going to share their expertise. So it's exciting.
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing really, it's designed as to be the perfect digital marketing and sales mastery event. So I'll be talking about some sales stuff like how to improve your close rates, increase pipeline, things like that. Marcus is going to be talking about They Ask You Answer, so he'll do a workshop there. And we'll have a customer there as well, but we're going to end on a big finale, and that'll be Linda, our head of content.
Wow.
He's going to talk about AI.
I'm excited about that.
I'm really excited by that one. We're hosting the event, but I'm excited just to see what she's going to talk about because that stuff will be awesome.
And also, if you want to get tickets, please jump to our website. There's only 200 seats available.
Well, we've got early birds right now as well.
Yep.
So they will end whenever you guys listen to this. They'll end soon. But yeah, absolutely. There's only 200 tickets. And yeah.
Don't miss out. Get onto it. Buy your tickets because it's going to be exciting.
And as I've been saying, if there's one event you go to this year and you're in Sydney or the APAC region, this is the one to go to. You will not be disappointed.
Amazing. Okay. Our news buzz. Threads has launched. Is it a Twitter killer? Twitter is pissed.
Yeah. So as of recording, I think they had about 30 million downloads in 24 hours.
Damn.
So we are recording the day after it was released. And it is the fastest take-up of any social media platform. Now, Tony, I do think it's a little bit unfair and I think it's really smart by Zuckerberg and Meta, because to open a Threads account, you have to have an Instagram account. So you just download the app and then it connects to your Instagram and it says, do you want to follow all your friends from Instagram on this channel? Which is really smart. They've got a huge network effect. So I don't blame them for it, but it's just blowing up, man.
So what is Thread? Let's talk about this. Thread is something a bit like Twitter. Probably a little bit different, but kind of like Twitter, they copied it. And you need Instagram account, and it's about microblogging. How powerful is that, Mobs? I don't know.
Yeah, so this is the thing. I think people are focusing about Threads. I think people are going about Threads the wrong way. Everyone's calling it a Twitter killer. It's not a Twitter killer. This is an social media platform, right? And I'm really excited for this for two reasons. Because on one side, for me, it signals something that we've been talking about, that microblogging is not going away. Micro content is not going away. Snackable media in general is not going away. So I'm a LinkedIn creator. I create LinkedIn posts 3-4 times a week. And for me, it validates the fact that short form content, microblogging is not going away anywhere. Because when you look at it this way, Tony, when TikTok came out, who copied TikTok? YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels. You can argue that when Shorts came out, it actually validated TikTok. It validated that format and media. It validated, for marketers now, it's like, well, okay, I was going to create, vertical video, but I'm not really so sure. But now there's 3 channels I could put it on. I could put on Shorts, Reels, and TikTok. There's more credence. So smart people, like people with a growth mindset, are not seeing this as another platform I got to get onto. They're seeing this as another place I can syndicate content I'm already creating.
Yeah, right.
Because all my LinkedIn microblogging posts, I'm just going to copy and paste them. That's what I've started to do. So if you're on Threads, by the way, find me, Moby Sadiq. There's only one. Find me. Let's fool around there. But that's the way to look at it. It's not a competitor. It's another place where you can use that disciplined muscle of creating content that if you're a brand, you should already have created. If not, this is a power to do so. More places to put the same content, and it's a signal that micro blogging snackable content is not going away anywhere.
Yeah. So Zuckerberg is actually getting sued by Elon, apparently.
Yeah, what did you read about that? What's happening there?
Yeah, so apparently a lot of the employees at Twitter actually moved and went onto Thread to help build that platform up. And
They poached them, or
well, I don't know, it doesn't say,
but they're working for them, right?
yeah, Elon's pissed about that, and he either wants to sue them or take Zuckerberg to an MMA match.
That's the other thing that's happening. And you and I were talking about this. Like, what are the chances they're actually friends? Like,
Yeah.
they're in the billionaires clubs that we're not going to be in.
Yeah.
What are the chances they're like, if it's me and you, it's like, Tony, dude, we know we'll create big hype if me and you fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It'll be like, people think we're nerdy and geeky, but let's get some training and let's fight. And I'll say some shit about you. You say some shit about me. You know what I mean? So I actually think like it's like just a big PR, thing. And Elon is the king of that. But yeah, but there's you have a physical fight and now potentially a legal fight. Which is interesting.
But so think about this, right? That's great what you say, microblogging, more content from a marketer's perspective. I love it. We're advertising, maybe more views, more attention. But do we really need more social media?
Nah. Like the parent in me, the humanitarian in me, I already have someday I'm much better than I used to be, but I sometimes still have these zombie scrolling moments.
Yeah.
So now there's like another channel to go through, but that's why I think, honestly, Tony, that's why I think it's good to be a creator, because if you can kind of shift a lot of that time to create and not consume, then at least you're doing something productive.
100%.
But man, you're spot on. We do not need another platform.
Well, that's it. I'll be joining on Thread probably next week. You're on it as well. I want to test this out and see if anyone follows me with my tweets or my threads. What do you call it? Threading?
I guess they're threads. Yeah, they're threads.
Threading now?
Threading, who knows? It's early days, man. The platform is pretty basic. You can't send DMs. You can't actually, there's no edit button. There's a few things. You can't do native video even. But and people are already making calls on this. It's like day 2. So this thing will evolve, and it doesn't hurt to just give it a play, fool around, make mistakes, because now's the time to do it.
Yeah, cool. Moving on, feature buzz. 7 ways to use psychology in marketing and sales. Now this gets interesting.
I was really interested because in this topic, because both you and I, Tony, do this. I know you do this a lot. You do this a ton. All the ads you do, a lot of the courses that you do, you're big on this. So I think this is really, really interesting. And I think some of this we do already, a lot of us already do, but it's a good reminder on some of the ways other brands do this. And, because I actually don't think good marketers don't use psychology enough. So, but yeah, let's talk
Some
about it.
call it manipulation. I call it psychology, being smart, being effective. So yeah, it's a big debate about
There's a
this.
fine line between those two things. But yeah, absolutely.
So the first one, halo effect.
What is it? Yeah. What's the halo effect, Tony?
The halo effect is a cognitive bias where one trait influences how you feel about other unrelated traits. So what does that mean?
Yeah, it's you've got a trait and you use that to make the assumption to make people have the assumption that because you're good in this trait, you're good in something else. So a common one and look, I'm not a fan of this. I don't condone this, but they've shown studies on this, that attractive people appear more intelligent. It's easier for attractive people to appear intelligent.
Is that why you seem so smart, Moops?
Are you trying to say I'm attractive, Tony?
Yes.
That's so nice, man. That's the nicest thing you've ever said to me in the years that I've known you. That's the nicest thing you've ever said to me. My beard, no, not at all. So, but that's essentially the bias. And it kind of makes sense in a way because, if you're doing a big meeting or a presentation or a keynote, you're going to dress nice. You're going to dress in an attractive manner. You're going to appear more intelligent, right?
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, though, you have to use this one with caution because I see this related to Simon Sinek talks about why. And we've been talking about it a lot lately at Red Pandas because we're trying to develop our why and articulate it. It has to be connected to your why. So for example, Apple does it. You will buy an Apple, if Apple tomorrow came out with furniture or podcasting equipment, you'd buy it. Because the traits of innovation, the traits of thinking differently, everyone knows that Apple doesn't care about being first. Many times, usually they're not first actually, right? But when they do it right. So it's connected to their why of thinking different, innovation. Now, if they try to do a dance studio or a gardening center, they could still probably figure it out, right?
Yeah.
But it's not going to be as easy. So another example that I can give you is the anti-Apple, like Dell. Dell was just a computer company, a technology company. For them to use the halo effect was very difficult. Not as easy as it was for Apple. Our Red Pandas, if our why is helping businesses be better versions of themselves, we can use our halo effect in being well known in digital marketing, HubSpot, paid media, all the things that we do to do an IT business if we wanted to. Not that we would. I'd never get into that industry, but we could because it's related to our helping businesses be better versions of themselves.
Yeah.
We could do things like that, business improvement things. But, could we do a sneaker line, a clothing line, selling pot plants? It'd be a lot harder.
Yeah.
So you've got to be connected to your why.
Interesting.
What's the next one, Tony? I know this one. Yeah, so talk to us about how you've used this one because I know you're big on this.
Loss aversion. So people are motivated by the fear of losing something than the prospect of gaining something. So we've heard of FOMO, fear of missing out.
Mm-hmm.
That's very true. A lot of people do not want to miss out, and we do that in a lot of our ads where there's limited stock, limited supplies, or 200 tickets, time. Don't miss out. It's true. I mean, we do only have 200
Are you
tickets.
saying we use the loss aversion technique in the start of this?
No, we actually only have 200 tickets. So that's the truth.
Yeah.
But limiting the offers or doing stuff, it can really help a campaign, especially in ads. We've seen it before, what's it called, Black Friday, or in a financial year, end of that. We see sales.
Is there any things of caution that we should watch out for with loss aversion? Is there any ways that people can get it wrong?
Doing too much of it can affect it. If you keep saying we're running out of stock, we're running every week, people are not going to believe in that, and they're going to call BS.
It is overdone a little bit.
Overdone, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, for sure. I think I will sort of say that on my side, because I do a lot of sales coaching and training, where I see it overused is with indecision. So indecision is and this happens a lot, and it's happening a lot right now in 2023 with talk of recession and things like that, right? Indecision is not the same as status quo. Status quo is oh, look, I'm kind of happy with where it's at. Indecision is the fear of effing up. I don't want to stuff up. I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to be embarrassed in front of my peers, my organization. That's what indecision is. So when you use things like loss aversion, so this is not from me. This is from a book called The Jolt Effect, where they analyzed 3.5 million sales calls, and they found that sales reps that use loss aversion for indecision actually make the indecision worse.
Yeah, right.
Because for indecision, you have to take risk off the table. When you're limited time offer and you only have a little bit it's this price and whatever, it actually makes people nervous. It doesn't work there. So that would be my caveat in the sales experience. Indecision, use taking risk off the table, guarantees, small purchases, things like that. But I think what you said is right. It can be overdone.
Yeah. Our third one, social proof. People are more likely to trust a product or service if they see others using and enjoying it. And this is so true, right? Every ad, every website, there's either reviews, there's people talking about it, social influencers, there's people reviewing it.
You think that's still strong? You think still works in this day and age?
Yeah, 100%. We had a website where we didn't have any reviews on it, and it was doing really well, right, for a client. And then they just recently added the reviews, and we did some testimonials, and sales started to increase even more, to a different. It was adding NOS onto the sales.
I love that because even though we all know it, and a lot of people who are listening to this are business leaders, marketers, maybe salespeople, we're oh yeah, as if that's going to work on me, but it works. It still works. I love that.
And what we sometimes do on Facebook, ads, is we have an ad and we'll get as much engagement on that post as possible to build up that social proof. And then we go and do some conversion ads, and man, that skyrockets.
Fair.
Little tactic. I'm just sharing it with the people.
Yeah, fair. I love that. Next one.
Confirmation bias. People tend to seek out information that confirms their existing beliefs or attitude. And this is interesting, Moby.
I think the best way to explain confirmation bias is aha, I knew it. So one example is people have confirmation bias. If you're a dog person, you're much more likely to search, are dogs better than cats as pets, as opposed to are cats better than dogs? We do this and that's the whole point of today. These are subconscious psychological things that we do. You're trying to confirm. Now, actually, it's not good in one way. It's kind of not to get too deep, but it's kind of how people watch Fox News to confirm right-wing, views, right? Whatever. You believe what you want. I don't care.
Yeah.
But I think in marketing, it's really, really powerful. So I think where this works really well, where I've seen you, Tony, I'd love for you to share an example, is with confirmation bias, addressing pain points. You know, like the ads that are like, are you suffering from boom, boom, boom?
Yeah.
Are you a digital marketer who's struggling to balance everything? Are you struggling with a smaller budget, lower close rates, etc.? If this sounds like you, go to the They Ask You Answer conference.
100%.
But yeah, talk to me about that. Is it the pain point side?
So confirmation bias, we do, from a tactic perspective, where we like there's a problem or whatever, we'll add that into the in the introduction of a video or something, and we'll get them, like, are you missing out on this, or do you need this? We know they're looking for it, but it's just double confirming it, and it's very effective, for our advertisement. But the thing that is like a double-edged sword is when someone does it for like medical. They want to search and go, do I have this? Do I have that? The thing about that is if you go to Google will give you those answers and say, yes, 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 right? Self-diagnosis.
I heard once that all that tells you is who's doing the best SEO.
True.
Like searching for a diagnosis just tells you who's doing the best SEO. Like, yeah, fair enough. It also can be used on a category level too. So for example, Australians are known for beef, right? We're known for beef. The Barossa Valley, parts of Australia are known for high quality wine, right? So like leveraging off that. Silicon Valley is known for technology. Now, if you're a beef manufacturer in Silicon Valley, even if that was possible, you wouldn't promote that. But if you were a technology company, you would. Silicon Valley based, So you can use traits of a place or a location to also, confirm positive confirmation bias.
Yeah, that's interesting. The anchoring effect. So this is quite interesting. People rely heavily on the first piece of information they receive when making a decision.
So the biggest thing that comes to mind here is restaurants, high-end restaurants use the anchoring effect all the time. What they will do, and they've done studies on this, where you go to the wine list, they'll have the most expensive wines up front. They'll have $600 wines, $700 wines. Then they'll have like their $200 wines and then, their $30 wines. You are more likely to buy a $200 wine from there than if you go to another restaurant and the menu just has the $200 wine as the most expensive. And the reason for that is anchoring, right? Because you go there, you go with your wife and you want to treat her to a nice meal when she's not pregnant, right? There's another, I don't know if we're allowed to talk about that, but Tony's wife's pregnant. God willing that goes well. But you're more likely to buy the $200 wine because you're like, man, $600, that's too expensive. I'm not going to buy my wife a $30 wine or my business partner a $30 wine. I'll get the $200 wine. But if you didn't have that high option, there's nothing to anchor off.
Yeah.
So Chris Voss in sales also talks about this with negotiation. So he says, not to get too far into it, but the Anchorman model is a negotiation tactic where, say you're buying something for $100 and you only want to pay $90. You ask for 65% of 90. Now my maths really sucks right now, but whatever 65% of 90 is, whether it's like, I don't know, $50. Yeah. You say $50. And then you make your increments smaller and smaller and smaller. You're anchoring essentially. You're anchoring so the person you're speaking to is like, they're not going to sell it for you. That's not the idea. They're not going to sell it to you for $45, but like, this person's starting on a really low base. So it works in sales and marketing really well.
We do that a lot, don't we? When we're on holidays, going to like Bali and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. Asian countries. Yeah. That's anchoring in its full effect.
But you had one you were telling me about your chicken story. What was that?
This is funny. So this was me trying to teach my kids a lesson, because I like, not in a bad way, but like to have a growth mindset, not to be scared. I was listening to Chris Voss's ebook and I said to my daughter's like, what's that? And it's funny, my son's older, but he wasn't interested. My daughter was interested. And I'm like, it's a negotiation tactic. I'm like, you know what, sweetheart, I'm going to go and buy some chickens and I'm going to use it. And I don't know, the chicken's like $12 each, right? These are not eating chickens. These are chickens to hatch eggs in the backyard. And I'm like, I want it for like $8 or something. And he's like, mate, for anything less than 50 chickens, we do not negotiate. And I'm like, well, that didn't work. But the point is, that's not the point. The point is just to play and practice. But anyway.
But the fact that we're negotiating all the time, you're like anchoring. Yeah,
that's what we do. We just don't maybe label it. But you're right, we do that.
Goal gradient effects. I got confused with this at the start, but it's more about short-term goals, especially on like quizzes and stuff. But it's it relates to the Zionic effect and...
Yeah, so explain it. Explain the goal grading effect.
So we're not talking about long-term goals, right? We're talking about a lot of people that start something want to finish it, and we're talking about like quizzes, right? If you see an ad and there's a quiz, you want to finish the quiz. You don't want to just stop halfway and move on.
Because you've invested that time. And the Zygarnik effect is very, very similar to that. So like you started something, you want to finish it. You see this a lot on progress bars. So one of the recommendations we'll make to some websites is when you have like an inquiry, have a staged form. Like firstly, you have less fields, but if you're going to have a lot, have a staged form. ClickFunnels does this a lot very well, their templates. You'll fill out 2-3 fields, you click next, and then there'll be a progress bar. It's flashing. It's like, you are 50% through.
Yeah.
So they're using that psychological principle of the goal grading effect to get you to keep going because your brain wants to finish something that it started.
Yeah. And we've done a lot in advertising, adding quiz and stuff. Even like for a long time, we've seen the effect of adding a quiz, the engagement rate, the submission rates. So people are triggered to it because you get them engaged, then they're clicking through and they want to finish, and then you get the email list or the sale. So
yeah, a lot of this stuff people are doing already. But if you want to like be smart in front of your boss, and tell them the psychology behind why you're doing it, you use that, right? It justifies a lot of these things you're already doing, probably, or you should be doing rather.
Authority bias. People are more likely to trust and follow the advice of those in positions of authority. This is why social media influencers work so well.
So back in the 40s and 50s, whenever they realized
Mad Men days,
you're talking about Ogilvy days, right? They used this stuff a lot. They used to have doctors to promote cigarettes.
Yeah.
That 8 out of 10 doctors prefer the Marlboro brand, right?
Yeah, true.
That's what it was. It was just authority. And this is why, I know a lot of people like hate influencers because, I don't know, like they seem to be famous for whatever. But this is why, I'm sorry to say, that's why influencers will work forever until the end of time because they have some authority in something.
Yeah.
So it just tends to work. But yeah, that's the authority bias in play.
And also, if you look at some of the biggest VSLs, video sales letters, they all have an authority or credibility figure in the video. And that's what determines the 10, the 20 to the $100 million video sales letters that we see.
I think a lot of brands could do this. We're speaking to a company now, and they do like HVACs. They do HVAC stuff and cooling and heating and things like that. And like, because I like to think of brands that are not typical. It's easy to talk about marketing strategies for Apple, right? But like even they could do it. They would have like engineers in their videos or a photo of an engineer, talking about stuff. But a lot of these things, I'm sure people listening, hopefully you guys can take at least one thing you can be doing because most people aren't using these principles.
And we'll just quickly talk about the lucky last bonus.
We got a bonus one actually. So I didn't want to have 7, but there is a bonus one called the mere exposure effect. So the mere exposure effect is the idea that people like things that are familiar to them. And the only reason I'm talking about this is because I got an email from Novelship. It's a sneaker brand or a sneaker marketplace, right? And the EDM was, don't be mad if you can't get Taylor Swift tickets.
Okay.
That was the subject. And then they proceeded to sell you on sneakers. And you had a really interesting thing though, because that is absolutely an example of the mere exposure effect, using things that might be familiar to people. Yeah. But you had an issue with that.
I was like, which sneaker experts or enthusiasts are, what's her name again? Taylor Swift fans.
You don't even know her. Exactly. Sneakerheads are not into Taylor Swift. So this is where you can do principles together, right? Like they're probably into, I don't know. I actually don't know. I'm not a sneakerhead. I like sneakers, but I'm not a sneakerhead. But skateboarders or something. I don't know, right? But yeah, they're not really going to... But I still thought it was clever. Yeah. Because I'm not a... Actually, I'm a closet Tay-Tay fan. I'm going to be honest. Yeah. I'll shake it off any day of the week. But I actually just realized how that sounds.
So you're a Swiftie fan?
Apparently. Yeah. No, let's not worry about that. But yes, 100%. I think it has to be related to something they're connected to. But that is an example of the mere exposure effect in play.
So that wraps it up for episode 141. You can find this episode at redpandas.com.au/EP141. And just remember, we have a conference coming later on the year. Get your tickets, get on the website, book your tickets before they run out.
Yeah, come see us. If you mention the show, I don't know what it is, but I promise I'll give you a gift. Let's say that.
Honestly, Marcus Sheridan's coming. That's more
good
than
enough. That's good enough.
From America. So.
100%. Thanks, Tony. Appreciate it. And we'll see you guys again for another episode of Inbound Buzz.
Thanks for listening to Inbound Buzz. Learn anything? Return the favor by spreading the word. Want to make your mark in digital? Need help with your digital strategy, inbound, and marketing automation efforts? Then visit redpandas.com.au and be sure to tune in next time for another Inbound Buzz hit.